quick challenge here. Just let's do some mathematics. Whatever it is you're watching this particular broadcast from, kindly look at your surroundings. How many people are in the room with you? Well, just know out of the number of people you are seated with or actually socializing with in this particular moment, 1 out of every 4 is seeking, treatment for one mental disorder or another. That is as per government's statistics. That is the conversation we're having tonight on Sunday Express as we seek to understand mental health and in particular look at, the mental health policy and if it has met its objectives and where the challenges lie. Joining me this evening is none other than counseling psychologist Jane Ngatia. Karibu sana, ma'am, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
You look amazing in your African outfit.
Thank you. We are keeping Africa alive.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and it's part of mental health.
It is. Yes, how we appear, how we dress, how we talk to each other is part of our mental health. True. Now, that particular precursor that we had this evening, done by Kamchemanza, it talked about, it put into perspective the Kenya mental health policy that was put in place and a task force, so to speak. From where you sit in the value chain, do you think that we have met our objectives when it comes to addressing matters of mental health?
That's a very important question, Regina. I like it because it helps us, first of all, to know that we have a policy in place in this country that addresses issues of mental health. I thank the government of Kenya and those in charge of it. Allow me to say this is work in progress. Considering that this policy and definitely the sector is still new, I would even call it young. It is work in progress, considering again that there are so many of us Kenyans who have issues. You have just mentioned the statistic, and that's very worrying. It should cause concern to all of us. So there is so much work to be done, and work is going on. Mm-hmm. And we need to take responsibility and not just wait for help to find us at home. We need to look for that help. We need to be able to identify when we are not very well, when we are not mentally stable, when we have issues that actually need to be treated.
I like what you've said, that we need to be proactive when it comes to dealing with mental health. But then the question is, a majority of people do not know that they are suffering from mental disorders. Maybe you can unpack for us. What should we be looking out for?
Again, a very important observation there. It's very easy to tell that I'm not mentally well, if I may use myself as an example. And now we are saying also that mental health issues are quite a range of experiences. We are talking of either chronic anxiety, whenever I feel anxious about something, and it persists for rather a longer time, and again the intensity of it. Does it ground me? Does it stop me from carrying on with my normal activities? That I should be able to assess for myself even before anyone notices, because I'll feel it and I'll know I'm actually not on the right track. Things like depression, well, we get depressed from time to time. But there is that depression which now would be categorized as clinical. Clinical depression will normally be diagnosed or assessed when a person has had certain symptoms. Talk of lack of interest on the top list. Whenever we feel we are no longer interested in what we used to be interested in or to enjoy for that matter, then there's a problem. That's a signal that something is not okay. Sometimes we may go sleepless for a while. That prolonged durations of not sleeping well.
Insomnia, that is?
Yes, insomnia. Okay. Thank you, Regina. You have it. And again, also lack of appetite. Now, the reason why these symptoms seem to be tying each other is because biologically, whatever regulates things to do with the food, appetite, sleep, mood, happens from more or less the same place in the brain. And so when that mechanism isn't in order, then we experience the same. So now we call them the behavioral, the emotional, and so on symptoms. So whenever I feel that I am not online, then I should be able to give myself some kind of basic assessment. I should look for help. Yes.
But not on a broader spectrum, looking at, the social aspect, especially within the work environment. You have seen on social media the term toxic work environment and such. From where you sit as a counseling psychologist, what then can we do to ensure that also, in as much as it is an individual, responsibility to check if your feelings, your emotions, are aligned to what you used to like. But what about the social aspect? What can we do to ensure that we are in, areas that bring out the best of us and not drain us?
Yes, I came in too soon, but allow me now to say that whenever one works in an environment that they are not happy about the job they do, it's very important that one enjoys what they do. We spend so much time at work, whatever nature of work it is. There are those regulated hours of work. And if I'm not happy, then definitely I'll be a very sad person. So that is one thing. The other thing is about the work environment, the people around me. Are we getting along? And that again could be my responsibility to ensure that I'm able to tag with the people I work with. Because generally, most of workplaces, one does not work alone.
Yes.
And again, the employer has a responsibility. How well adjusted are the employees that are working? And that's why we have people like human resource managers. I guess part of their job is to check on the human resource. Are people performing? If they are not, what is the problem? Is there one of us who is out of the race? If they are, why are they out of the circle?
You've asked a very good question, and at this point it will remain rhetoric at this point. Now let me take you back to the 1 out of 4 of every Kenyan is seeking, particular mental health services. You're a counselor yourself. When you have a sit down with these persons who are seeking help, what is their main core issue? What are they struggling with?
Regina, life is getting harder. Things are not getting easier. The social problems that we have affect families, affect individuals in the wrong land. That means people will be affected by what happens, even the political climate of any given country. Let's take, for example, our own country, we love it, Kenya. That instability, that fear, the anxiety of what happens tomorrow. Is salary coming or not? Is my family going to have enough to feed on or not? Are my children going to school or not? Do I have the fees and all that? Now, these are social problems that narrow down to the individual. And therefore, problems increase because we are able to assimilate what happens in our own environment. So when the environment is a bit scaring, it's a bit threatening, it's not too assuring, and we cannot be sure of tomorrow or the next minute, then we are likely to absorb that, and that emotionally will get into our heads, and whichever way, it may have even started from our heads emotionally, and then we behave like, life is losing meaning at the end of the day.
Now, we talked about the mental health policy that has a lifespan of 20 from 2015 all the way to 2030. We are roughly either 7+, given how we're looking at, less than a decade to actually see if we have come to fruition. Now, let's look at the aspect of accessibility to mental health services and the budgetary allocation towards mental health services. As a professional within this particular value chain,
that's an area of concern, and it is very important, Regina, that you have brought it up. We are concerned as psychologists out there. I'm sure other people who are working towards maintenance and sustenance of mental health are equally concerned. Probably we may also look at what else is competing with these resources. While probably I may not be able to talk about the budgetary allocation, definitely we need resources allocated to the areas of mental health. Listen, a person who is not mentally stable will not work. We are talking about development. We are talking about that young person who needs to be well to be able to go to work, to be able to provide for their family, to be able to complete school and colleges and all that. I mean, mental health is everything. We need more sensitization. We need more people get to know about what is this mental health, how does it concern me, where would I get help? And so we need also more people trained in this area to be able to handle. We are talking about more doctors are needed, more nurses are needed. Why? People are falling sick. Strange diseases are coming around. They're affecting us. We need more research done. And so we need all that equally done for the mental health areas. So I'm here also advocating that we need more support. We are kind of overwhelmed. We have people who are really down, and mental health will kill eventually. It will weaken the economy. It will weaken the person. It will weaken families. And what does it mean? It translates to a stagnated society, a society that is wasting. So we need areas of mental health supported. And I thank God the government of Kenya is up with it, but more needs to be done and a little faster.
Now, as we come to a conclusion, Madam Ngatia, we are dealing with children in our families, and you mentioned the issue of depression, anxiety, basically even disorders mental disorders within the family setup. Let's focus on this and the ripple effect it is having, dysfunctional families, and the ripple effect now it is having on our youth, especially in school, as we come to a close.
Again, a very important observation. I like the way it is going. And by the way, children get depressed as well. And children suffer from anxiety. When things are not working, for the parents, let's take for instance, for the guardians, for the caretaker of that child, the child get affected. There's that tipper effect that at the end of the day, it is from the parent to the child. When the parents are not happy, the child is able to sense and they are not happy too. So it's possible that we get an entire family with mental, health that is poor, that is not desirable at all. So it's time also to work on the children, schools, and I think it is high time we offer mental health all the way, not just for the adults, also for the children who are going to school. Actually, this should also be a teachable area. The child needs to be able to tell when they feel so sad, they are not sure whom to tell. They can talk to the teacher, they can talk to anyone else, they can talk to their older siblings and eventually to their parents. That way, we are able to salvage this country from issues of mental health that are taking us down the drain.
I will not water down what you just said, is that it means that if you're tackling mental health issues, we need to start from the bottom up, so to speak, from the children, because it's a ripple effect.
True.
Well, there we've been speaking to none other than counseling psychologist Jane Ngatia. When it comes to matters of mental health, is that it is a whole societal, duty. You be your brother's keeper, be your own keeper. Check on those things that make you anxious, lack of appetite, you can't sleep and such. Look into yourself. Things that you like, you no longer like them anymore. You need to really assess yourself as you tackle issues of mental health. I've been your host, Regina Manyara, and you've been watching KBC Channel 1 Sunday Express. I wish you a pleasant week ahead.